Why is AI networking infrastructure different? It's actually pretty simple. It's basically GPUs need to be able to talk to each other across the network very, very quickly. All right. They need to be able to communicate and go ahead and help do calculations together. When they talk across the network, we have three key factors, right? We need low latency, very low latency, high speed, and it needs to be reliable or lossless. So once we have those characteristics, we'll be good to go. So first, let's consider communication between GPUs within a server. Well, normally the way it goes is GPU to CPU to GPU. So you copy memory twice, not very efficient. Fortunately, a long time ago, they came out with something called direct memory access. It would allow devices in the same server to be able to talk to each other. And so direct memory access was awesome. So now we go ahead and talk much more efficiently, not only from GPU to GPU, but we can also talk like GPU to a network interface card. And so this is going to allow me to get traffic to the network, not through the network, but to the network and out of that server very, very quickly. So that communication's great. So you can imagine if we have two servers, right, they're each going to be able to take advantage of that ability to be able to send traffic directly to that network interface card. Now all we need to do is allow them to be able to communicate with each other, right? We want them to be able to chat with each other and send information back and forth. We want to do DMA, but not in the same server, but in a remote server. So we call this remote DMA or RDMA, right? Remote direct memory access. So with RDMA, what do we need? Well, we need adapters that support it. We need switches and infrastructure that support it. We have those requirements, that latency, that losses, those bandwidth, right? We need to have a very efficient network. Well, the first one to support this was InfiniBand. So InfiniBand came out first, right? Very popular in the high performance computing arena, all right? Still popular today. We think of Mellanox as kind of the one that created and really made this popular. NVIDIA, of course, acquired Mellanox a little bit ago. It's a great solution for a lot of environments. Okay? When we look at InfiniBand, though, we're installing a secondary network. And so we kind of end up with two networks. We're still going to have kind of our regular Ethernet, plain old vanilla Ethernet network, right? For the rest of our talk to our data center. That's going to be kind of our front end network, but on the back end, we're going to have a dedicated network. In this case, it's an InfiniBand network. And this is where we'll have our dedicated communications between the servers and maybe dedicated storage. So we can have communications to some dedicated storage. This was dominant for a long time, but more recently with advances in Ethernet, we've started to see being able to do RDMA over Ethernet, or we refer to as ROCE, Rocky. So we're currently on Rocky V2, and what Rocky allows us to do is to do that RDMA and meet all those requirements, right? That we have the requirements that we're saying, hey, okay, great. We're going to meet that lossless requirement. We're going to meet that low latency, that high bandwidth. We can meet all those requirements. And many people are much more familiar with Ethernet, has a much bigger install base, and definitely is gaining momentum. InfiniBand is still currently dominant, but we're seeing this Rocky using Ethernet continue to grow. We still kind of end up with two networks. We have our Rocky enabled network that we're going to have dedicated, that kind of back-end network, and then our front-end network. Okay. As you follow the evolution of this kind of Ethernet in the AI space, there's different groups. There's the Rocky Initiative. There's also another group called Ultra Ethernet, kind of following along those type of lines. And as you can see, a lot of members, all right, of some of the biggest network companies in the world. Okay. So what do we look at? We saw that RDMA, remote direct memory access, allows GPU to talk over the networks. InfiniBand was the first to support RDMA, but now Rocky allows us to do RDMA over Ethernet. Whatever the customer wants, whether they're InfiniBand or they want to use Rocky, and you'll find people will fight kind of back and forth, kind of like Chevy versus Ford. Regardless, we're here to support them and help them have a great high performance network in their environment. Thank you.